So this is a really common pain point that a lot of our users have. It's not a crime to use AI. We always encourage users to just always be involved in the writing process.
आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस अपनी रिसर्च में यूज करना कोई भी क्राइम नहीं है, लेकिन आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के भरोसे पे अपनी पीएचडी करना वो गलत है। वी आर स्टार्टिंग अ न्यू सीरीज जहां पर मैं एक्सपर्ट्स के साथ बातें करूंगी एंड वी विल आंसर योर क्वेश्चंस अबाउट रिसर्च and how you can include artificial intelligence in your research ethically. एंड इस पॉडकास्ट सीरीज के पहले एपिसोड में हमारी गेस्ट है शेन।
Hello, everybody. My name is Shaine, and I am the growth manager at the Jenni team. So today, Dr. Surabhi and I will be talking about research writing, academic writing, and how to properly integrate AI in the field of academia right now.
Someone who's hearing about Jenni for the first time. How would you explain Jenni AI and how it helps?
Okay, so for someone who hasn't heard about Jenny at all, so you can think of Jenny as the workspace where all the parts of research writing kind of come together. So you can upload your sources and chat with them. You can also write directly in Jenny as you would in Google Docs or Word, but it also gives you AI assisted suggestions as you type, and all information is cited and taken from academic sources. So basically, Jenny's strongest suit is the fact that you can do all of these without leaving the tab, which makes it a specialized workspace for research writing. Let me share my screen. Okay, so this is the Jenny landing page. As you can see, we are a workspace that's designed for research. And when you log in, you're going to be taken to a document editor. So it's quite reminiscent of Google Docs. So basically, you can just start writing here in the document. For example, you have a research topic in mind. Jenny basically helps you start writing. So I'll just use the sample prompt here. So let's say I'm writing a paper on the effects of climate change on marine diversity. Paper, the effects climate change on marine diversity. Now, there are three options that you can select here. So no headings will just give you a blank document. Smart headings will look at your topic and then suggest some relevant headings to kickstart your writing. And standard headings is just the basic IMRAD format, introduction, methods, results, and discussion. So everybody's familiar with this one. So let me select smart headings just so you can see. And then once you click start writing, Jenny is going to give you a bunch of headings that will help you kind of section out your paper. And the autocomplete setting that I mentioned earlier is basically how Jenny helps you whenever you pause while writing. Let's say you lost your train of thought or you just have writer's block, then Jenny will kind of continue writing for you. But then this is something that some people love and some people just turn off. So it's completely opt in. And so, just a brief overview of Jenny, we have the writing section here in the middle. You have a reference library here on the left, which I think we will be talking about more on later, and then the AI chat on the right.
Will Jenny do everything or do I still need to add my input?
No. So, what we emphasize the most in Jenny is the fact that authors should maintain control over their writing. So, we don't encourage people to actually use Jenny to write your entire paper for you because we want to ensure that the writer still learns and understands what they're writing about. And so, Jenny's features are all designed to kind of support you and help you write more efficiently, but not necessarily taking away your thinking, if that makes sense.
Okay. You have AI tool for every single thing. You want to write
No.
thesis, you want to write this thing. How is Jenny AI different from other academic AI tools?
Okay, so first of all, the most popular one, like ChatGPT or Claude, so general AI tools like those, they're really good. As the name suggests, they're like generalists, but they weren't really built for the specific demands of academic writing. So basically, they have a tendency to hallucinate citations, and they also take information from all over the web.
Okay.
Whereas Jenny is built around the academic workflow. So it works with your research library. It also generates real citations, and it only pulls data from our database of academic works. So it is basically just tailored specifically for research writing.
What stage of research do typically research scholars use Jenny?
From what we've seen, drafting is usually where we see the most use. So specifically this early drafting stage where it's
Mhm,
the hardest to come up with new ideas. So let's say you just have like a broad research topic in mind, but you don't know where to start, which
mhm,
is what I just showed on screen earlier.
mhm,
But literature reviews are also a really common entry point,
mhm,
especially if you're analyzing multiple papers. It's hard to synthesize everything on your own efficiently,
mhm.
and to do that.
So essentially, we can say that Jenny supports researcher from structuring clear ideas to generating a good amount of content. But there always be that manual touch, or Jenny will do everything for you, and you just have to sit down.
So Jenny definitely supports you on like a assistant perspective, but it never really does everything without your input. So, for example, if you're writing a literature review and you need to synthesize a few papers,
Okay.
Jenny is going to help you synthesize those papers, give you responses, find key themes, but you are ultimately responsible for which papers you think are worth putting in your literature review. Or you're also responsible for building arguments and like conclusions out of the synthesized information that Jenny helped you with. So think of it as a research assistant and a co-pilot rather than something that just does all of the work for you.
So now come the biggest question from the scholars. Suppose they are writing literature review and they are in mid of. How Jenny can help them restructure that?
So this is a really common pain point that a lot of our users have. So as you saw earlier, Jenny has its own research library. So
Okay.
the library is basically its own reference management software. So you can think Zotero or Mendeley. You can upload all of your sources there, hundreds of PDFs, that's fine. And what Jenny lets you do is you can upload those and group them together. And then you can start using those to ask the AI chat questions like, how do the arguments in these papers relate to each other, or what are the key themes across these sources? So basically that process of synthesizing out loud and actively interacting with your literature helps authors like gain ideas and start writing the review.
Do Jenny AI provide valid and authentic resources and citations?
Jenny generally is very accurate when it comes to citation suggestions. So we've also made it very easy for authors to actually access the papers in Jenny. And all of the papers are taken from a academic database of 250 million papers. So we're not citing any blogs or random sites. They're all peer-reviewed research. So you can actually trust the references that Jenny cites. But even though Jenny boasts an accurate citation feature, we
Mhm.
always encourage our users to actually go into the paper, read it, and understand it for the sake of the author rather than the paper. So, obviously, if you're writing a research paper, you have to understand the arguments that you've built in order to defend it. So, we always tell authors to actually verify the citations themselves just so they understand the papers.
How to use AI tools responsibly.
Right. Okay. So this is probably arguably one of the most important questions in the academic space right now. I think the key distinction is, are you using AI to think or are you using AI instead of thinking? Right. And Jenny's philosophy is that the researcher's ideas and analysis and judgment should always come first. So using AI to draft a sentence that you already have in your head is fine. Using it to reorganize an argument that you've already formed is okay, but I don't think you should use it to generate conclusions that you haven't reached yourself.
Can Jenny AI assist researchers starting with just a basic idea, or is a detailed set of input required?
Oh, okay. So this is where it gets a little, there's a distinction. So you can also come to Jenny with just like a broad idea, a general idea of what you want to write, but you can't expect Jenny to write everything for you.
Okay.
So you can work with Jenny gradually. You start with an idea and build through that through Jenny's citation suggestions. You can also build arguments through all of the references that it suggests for you in its chat or on the autocomplete. We always encourage users to just always be involved in the writing process.
How to use AI without losing the academic voice?
Okay, so the question here is if you're actually just putting AI generated content on a paper and looking for a humanizer,
Hmm.
right? That is one way that you're not ethically using AI. That's basically just getting copy pasting a suggestion from like a general AI tool and then running it through a humanizer.
Hmm.
But with Jenny, you have to always be involved in writing, and you always have a part to play in terms of what ideas go into your paper, which arguments you structure, right? And so if you're actively involved in the writing process with Jenny, originality shouldn't be a problem because it's your original ideas, original arguments, stuff like
Okay.
that. But then Jenny, if you use Jenny to, let's say, paraphrase an argument that you've written yourself, that shouldn't contribute to AI detection because it is still an original idea.
Hmm.
Plus, for frameworks right now, in terms of research publication, a lot of journals have moved from AI detection to actually declaring AI. Yeah, so we actually have an AI disclosure framework. So I'll
Okay.
just use this current document that I have, type slash,
Hmm.
and select AI declaration. You're going to see this declaration of AI usage clause. So this clause is in line with the OECD Principles of AI and UNESCO's Ethics of AI frameworks.
Hmm.
And a lot of researchers have actually already published papers with this clause in it.
Okay.
So all that to say is AI use is not frowned upon in research publication, as long as you use it responsibly.
Okay. So is this declaration is valid in Indian universities also, or it is only for the global universities?
One thing we always tell authors is to check your institution's policies first
Okay.
because it differs from university to university. So some universities are more lax, some are more strict. So it's important that you verify it first.
Okay. And this declaration is only for the research papers, or if students are using Jenny for their thesis writing, that is also valid.
Yes, that's completely valid. It's valid for any piece of academic writing.
Okay, so how it goes? For example, if I have an idea, I have to write one research paper, and I am doing all the research by myself, and then I'm putting that in Jenny. So that will come under AI detection, or if I am like just consuming some content from Chat GPT and then I copy there and then paste in Chat in Jenny, that comes under AI content.
If you copy paste content from ChatGPT into Jenny and just export that as a Word file, then it will definitely be AI detected because it just directly came from a ChatGPT.
So I am just copying that abstract from the research paper and pasting that summary, the abstract in Jenny. And I am telling Jenny to just help me understand the arguments, whether it is for my topic or against my topic. So will that
Mhm.
summary or will that generated content comes under AI detection?
It shouldn't come under AI detection if it directly came from a research paper.
Okay.
But if also you're just using it to ask the chat, then it wouldn't even be in your document in the first place if you're using the abstract to kind of understand the ideas in the paper. So rather than AI detection, though, I think you would have to worry more about plagiarism if it's just directly a copy paste from a different research paper.
Okay.
But I doubt people will be copying an abstract into their own paper and then submitting it. So I don't think that should be a problem.
Is there any precaution students should take?
First is we kind of tackled it a little bit, but knowing your institution's policy is really important because, as I said, it usually differs from one university to another or one journal to another. And second, it's important to always verify AI generated content against your actual sources. So you shouldn't accept a citation that you haven't understood yourself. So although Jenny has tools in place to match sources to text and all of our citations are real and relevant, I think it's important that you as an author read through them to ensure your personal understanding and learning. And third, it's important to be transparent when it's appropriate. So the frameworks obviously are still evolving, but leaning towards AI transparency usually puts you in a better position than otherwise.
What's the number one rule students should keep in mind before using AI in research?
One of the things that you have to keep in mind is it's not a crime to use AI, especially if you're using it in the right way. I know there are a lot of students and researchers that are kind of still afraid of kind of just touching AI just because they're afraid of getting rejected or their paper not getting published. But if you do the research, if you look at the data, a lot of researchers are already using AI, so it's better to start now to be able to catch up rather than get left behind.
We have a very insightful conversation. Thank you for joining us, Shane. I hope this conversation of ours gave a lot of ideas to researchers and they start building something great for us.
Thank you so much. It was an amazing conversation. I'm glad to be part of it.
Same here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. In this podcast, we talked about how AI is effective for your research and how Jenny can help you transform your rough draft into academically polished research document. नेक्स्ट एपिसोड के लिए आप ऐसा कौन सा क्वेश्चन है जो चाहते हो कि हम एड्रेस करें सो वी विल आस्क आवर एक्सपर्ट टू पुट लाइट ऑन दैट research well and use AI effectively and utilize the artificial intelligence for benefit of your research.